Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Joy of Stick. Stickhead here with your Atari ST gaming channel, and I present to you the next instalment in the top 50 Atari ST games as voted for by you. Now, if you've missed any of the other previous instalments, have a look in the comments section. They'll be listed there with links for you. But if you've seen those already, let's dive in. We've had some cracking games already, and they're only going to get better from here on in. Enjoy.
Number 35.
The second flight simulator on the list is the seminal Falcon, a game that was lauded for its accurate simulation of the F-16 fighter that it's named after, while still being accessible enough for newcomers to get into. Many features that would later become staples of the genre were first showcased here, and the attention to detail is astounding. There are 3 separate instrument screens to switch to if you want to see all the dials, switches and furry dice on offer, and although EA's Interceptor boasted an exterior camera first, Falcon was the first to allow the player to view their plane from almost any angle. It was also one of the earliest flight sims to offer head-to-head dogfights via a null modem link, and there was a really cool innovative black box feature which allowed you to analyse each flight after landing. Another nice touch is how you can pull too many G's in a turn and cause your pilot to black out. The difficulty level is chosen by selecting the rank of your pilot, with Colonel offering the most accurate simulation and steepest challenge, while First Lieutenant enjoys unlimited ammo and a plane that is more forgiving to fly and completely invulnerable to collisions. Another great addition to ease in players new to flight sims.
Number 34.
First, there was Men. Now, Psygnosis presents a DMA design game.
Pretty well received in the press at the time, but obviously well loved by many ST gamers to appear this high on the list. Blood Money was one of the earliest games developed by DMA Design, the creative force that would go on to create Lemmings and Grand Theft Auto. The digitised speech of the intro certainly sticks in the mind, but fire it up now and you might be tempted to dismiss what seems like a pretty humdrum shmup. In 1989, however, Blood Money was notable for many interesting features, such as its 4-directional scrolling and the ability to fly different vehicles on the different levels like helicopters and submarines. The game's unique selling point, though, was the central mechanic of blasting enemies for cash and then spending that cash on upgrades. And upgrades you will need, because the ineffective pea shooter you start with just isn't going to cut the mustard. You can get spread shot, reverse fire, speed up your thrusters, all sorts. But to be honest, my absolute favourite thing about Blood Money is the manual. And that might sound like damning it with faint praise, but that's where all the world building takes place. There's a little letter from the game's protagonist to his mom, promising that he'll be a sensible captain and not join the alien safari, and an alien safari brochure just to make the folks back home laugh. It's just delightful. I'll bring back manuals, I say.
Number 33.
The Bards Tale was originally released as Tales of the Unknown Volume 1 on the Apple II in 1985, and it was absolutely revolutionary. The unprecedented animated 3D graphical representation of the game world, alongside detailed portraits, served to hook players into this evocative adventure. The evil Mangar has frozen the lands of Skara Brae with a spell of eternal winter, and it's up to you and your ragtag band of wastrels and nobodies to save it. Gameplay consists of you creating a group of 6 player characters and proceeding to level them and gear them up until they're strong enough to take on the dangerous enemies in 3 dungeons. Along the way, you'll be swiping important items and solving puzzles. And if all this sounds familiar, well, that's probably just a testament to how influential this game has become. Bards Tale is one of those games that builds a fascinating world that's just a pleasure to exist in. So yeah, you do have this overarching quest that needs to be fulfilled, but to be honest, it's such a treat just to explore, find new things, make progress and vanquish enemies you were previously unable to, that it's easy just to get lost in the game and forget all about Mangar and his evil schemes.
Number 32.
Originally released on the Apple II a year prior, Sundog the Frozen Legacy was to be the first of 3 astounding games that FTL would unleash on the ST. Not a bad hit rate really, FTL. Only 3 games released and all of them are absolutely stonking. In fact, FTL originally planned to release more games in the Sundog series, but the success of Dungeon Master meant they ploughed all of their resources into that series instead. You start Sundog as the underdog. You've been enslaved and forced to work in the glass mines. Your uncle has recently died and bequeathed you his ship. Now, that's given you a little taste of freedom and you want more. If you can fulfill your uncle's promise to start a colony, you can earn that freedom. Unfortunately, the ship he's left you with has seen its fair share of action. It's currently being held together by little more than gaffer tape and rat poo. At the beginning of the game, you'll be walking around your ship, interacting with the different consoles and systems to see what you need to repair, and then it's up to you to travel into town in the buggy to buy correct parts, repair those systems, and then get busy living up to your uncle's legacy. The game has such a great implementation of a mouse and window-driven interface. Before such things were commonplace, there's this neat open-view ship graphic, and it looks a lot like the recent indie hit FTL. That can't be a coincidence, right? The attention to detail in this game is astounding. For example, if you park your vehicle in the street when visiting the bank, you'll get a parking ticket. And while you're out and about in the town, you run the risk of being mugged by the local thugs, losing all the money that you're carrying. You'll have to look after yourself as well as your ship. You'll become tired if you don't rest, and you'll get hungry if you don't eat. I could go on and on about the brilliance of this game, but it'll best be served if you just pick yourself up a copy and have a go for yourself.
Number 31.
I seem to be referencing historical significance a lot this week, so I won't buck that trend when talking about a game from the team that would go on to make Tomb Raider. They're flexing their plagiarism muscles here again to come up with another take on Indiana Jones phenomenon with our friend Rick here. I say our friend, but there's very little that's friendly about a game of Rick Dangerous. It's an absolute git. Random, unforeseeable and unavoidable death stalks you around every corner in this game, right from the word go. Well, I say random, but that's not entirely accurate. The predictability of the dangers that Rick faces is central to the game's design. Things will seem random until you've learned them. And learn them you must if you're going to make any progress at all. Where was that hidden spike? Or when will that blow dart fire? What direction will the bat fly in? Now, I'm not normally a big fan of trial and error gameplay, but and here you will die and die again as you learn Rick's secrets, but knowledge, as they say, is power, and as soon as you know each level inside out, you'll begin to rinse them, and that's satisfying, deeply satisfying. The thing that keeps you coming back for more during all this punishment is just how tight the design is here. Rick is responsive and enjoyable to control, the collision detection is spot on, and the game is chock full of charm thanks to the cheeky sprites and over-the-top samples. The game might simply have been infamous for its difficulty, or just dismissed as a mere precursor to one of the most successful franchises of all time, but thanks to these deft touches, the game has tons of heart, and because of that, Rick Dangerous is a classic in its own right.